But so those of you who are listening to the replay because you didn't get the link, I'm so sorry. Um, the replay will be available for a while. So welcome, welcome. For those of you who are have been in my world, it's lovely to see your beautiful faces or your screens or your name on the segment. Oh, hi, Karina. Is it cold there? Just got back to Canada and I'm like, oh, for those of you who are new to my world, my name is Jill Alana Nixon. Essentially, I help people access their potential, their soul's potential, and embody their true, authentic expression, which is one of the biggest keys to actualizing our dreams. And I help them actualize their, oh, beautiful. I help them actualize their soul's desires as their living reality. So today's transmission is going to be an hour. We are going to do an activation. I'm just going to start with a couple things. Karina, I got the email yesterday. Okay, so it did go through yesterday. I will make sure in the future of any free masterclasses or paid masterclasses that you get it the day of as well. I sent the 15-minute reminder myself because I saw in the chat that people didn't get the link and it's not the usual Zoom link, it's a different one. So, welcome. I'm very excited about today's transmission back to soul. This is like so meaningful to me because just kind of a background on my story if you're new to the space or if you've only been in my space for the last year, like I have been manifesting since I was very young. I've taught manifest like way before I knew the science of it. I had been teaching manifestation for many years. And I realized there's a very big difference between soul manifestation and the soul path and ego manifestation. And ego manifestation just hits differently. That is where we are fulfilled. This is where we are in awe. This is where our soul is so full from actualizing what we desired, not only because it is so in alignment with our soul, and it doesn't, when we're doing this in our work, it doesn't feel like work. When we are in a fully aligned friendships and relationships and business partnerships, like relationships of all sorts, like they're so deeply nourishing. And I don't know if anybody else can relate to this. I'm assuming since you're here or watching the replay, you can. But for so long, I didn't feel fully in alignment with my soul. I was like, yeah, getting all the things. Okay, so I wasn't getting any of the things, firstly. And then I learned manifestation. And I was like, oh, I've been doing this my whole life. I mean, back to like the first acting role I ever played, I didn't have an agent. I'm trying to move this table. It's not really working very well. Okay. Anyways, we'll move that for the next call. I didn't have an agent and I actually manifested it ironically at this barn. I remember visualizing and just imagining myself already in the role, even though like I was up against all these people and the way I even got the audition was bonkers. And that barn was a barn that my favorite TV show, I don't really watch TV, but this was my favorite show growing up, is called Heartland. And I just got back from like the most incredible trip with the lead star of Heartland. She's so down to earth. Holy Toledo. And the most amazing people and my mom. And that was a soul manifestation through and through this journey of actualizing that. And I'll give you some examples of soul versus ego with myself and clients I've worked with. So you guys understand before we go into the activation, how this works on the soul path, because that was one of the most nuanced manifestations that I've actualized in my life. And I had to come up against such vulnerable parts of myself, the deepest core wounds with my mother, with men. My allergies were related to my lack of self expression, me feeling like I couldn't express myself fully and authentically. And that actually had to do with my relationship with the masculine and my father. And oh boy, you bet I got initiated into that. The final piece was actually at Christmas where I spoke up my truth from my heart, but also from this energy of commanding respect from the person that it was the hardest, and that was my father. Um, for so many reasons. He's an amazing person and he has always intimidated me. I mean, he intimidates basically everybody. So there's that. But I was like trying to like hide from it. My soul was like, I'm like, oh, I just need to get out of this environment. Finally, I'm like, the key is actually to speak your truth. And that's where the healing, the last piece of the healing with allergies came in. And I was like, that's bonkers. So, some examples. I'm going to share some examples from clients over the years that were soul manifestations and then ones that were ego manifestations. And what happens when we just manifest from our ego. And then I'll share a few more for myself. And then I'm going to share symptoms of your soul communicating that something is off path, or that maybe you're on path, but you're halting yourself. And then the soul feels like it's like you're constricted in the straitjacket and the soul is like trying to expand and you're like, oh, and you're like just avoiding the one thing that you got to be doing or you know you need to do, whether it's speaking up to somebody, holding a boundary, investing in that thing, taking a trip, like whatever it is, going live on, speaking on stages, going live on social media, like whatever the one thing is, that is probably the scariest, is usually the key. So the reason, okay, firstly, let's spin back. This is coming through really strong because when I was on the farm in Argentina, one of the owners, his name's Diego, such a lovely human. Talk about like living your soul path. He created that, he's like creating a hotel right now, but he created that whole resort and he like for his children, his grandchildren, like literally from nothing because he loves it and he's so passionate about it. That is being on soul path. So we were talking about how in North America, and he was sharing stories from like past visitors, a lot of the time we're just doing work to like pay bills. We're just staying in friendships that don't feel aligned to not feel lonely. We are thwarting and contorting ourself, our truth, the truth of our soul to fit in. Because if we show our truth, embody our truth, it's the most powerful frequency. It cuts through all distortion, all illusion, all deception. We are a threat and it will trigger people, but it will magnetize also what is meant for us. And what is meant for us from that frequency cannot miss us. When we're not embodying the truth of our soul, of our authentic expression, which, by the way, for any entrepreneurs here, or musicians or artists, that you want your business plan, embody your authentic soul's blueprint. That is your magnetism. That is your business plan. That is what draws all the resources to you for your soul plan. That is what God wants you to embody. Our soul's communication is really God speaking through us. So, some examples of soul manifestations from clients in the past or current are creating music. I have a client who has created some of the most beautiful music. And I remember being in a breathwork ceremony and I was like, oh, I need to message her. Like her music is a transmission. I saw it was my private clients, all the private clients I'd worked with, the codes that they had, their essentially their ministry that they had on this planet through their soul gifts, which by the way, our untapped soul gifts are right under our deepest traumas, FYI. So, that's one example. Another one is helping a professional athlete get past sabotage patterns and get into the NHL. The key to that was healing something with his mother and deep self-worth, which also manifested in him healing his relationship with his girlfriend, which they were broken up at the time. Then they got back together and now they are engaged. Another one is, I'll share some of mine actually. Like I said, the horseback riding trip to Argentina with my favorite childhood actress, which God doesn't make mistakes. Like so much shifted on that trip, and I saw where I'm being called to in my work, and I saw what is actually coming into completion with my work. So this is where, when we follow the soul path and actualize our manifestations, there's keys for our next step, for our next level of evolution, for our next level of impact. And if this is resonating and you're like, I really want to go on this journey, some of you guys here already signed up for Soul Led Life, the 6-month journey. This is like the activation we do today in the transmission is a small sample. All of the ones from the Soul Speak series will be put in the portal, and then they will dissolve from the public. If you just want to buy the replays, there will be an offering for that. But if you're in Soul Led Life, you already get the replays. That isn't just a course. This is a journey. The field. Okay, I'm going to explain this really quick. There's a difference between courses and journeys. My membership, the Prosperity Portal membership, which, by the way, if you want to start with a low ticket thing, there's miracles going on in that, so much shifts and transformation. That is a membership. That is courses. That is transmissions. That is not a journey. With my journeys, like Decoding Manifestation was an 8-9 week journey. The reason so many miracles happen in that is because I code the energy. There is an alive field. There is shifts that literally start happening through God, through the power of prayer. I do a lot of prayer on these journeys, on these, what I used to call like my live courses. So it's another level than just like a membership or a course that you might have taken. Okay. The field, the alive field, there's a reason I run these courses only live. The live field, through the power of prayer and energy work, etc., illuminates truth, illuminates where you're stuck and where you need to go. And you will have the support to walk that path, because in my experience, it is not easy. It's usually the hardest choice, but it is so worth it. So if you feel the pull to that, it's 3888 right now. Early bird has closed. If you join by Tuesday night, we'll send a discount code for 555 off. So it'll be 3333 for the 6 months. If you join, my request is that you go full in. I don't want you double dabbling. I don't want you to join the field because it's an alive field if you just want to like kind of stay on the sidelines. This is a commitment to a life transformation of truly walking the soul path, to truly stepping in to your mission, your ministry, to truly become the most joyful, alive, sovereign, impactful, expressive version of yourself in whatever that is, whatever your gifts are, to show up as the best person, best version of you for your family, for your friends, for your community, etc. It's not easy work, and it is so powerful and so life-changing. So there's that. The second thing I just want to share quickly that I've been guided to offer is live one-on-one or two-on-one 2-day immersions in person in Vancouver. There will be an application for these. I was obviously traveling and God spoke real loud. Somebody had something and they got really sick and almost passed out, and it was like this, and I could see what was going on energetically. I was like, hey, do you want me to do some energy work? Anyways, we got it cleared within 20 minutes. And I don't often do in-person hands-on healing. We will do it at the retreat in the breath work. Unless people don't want it, they can opt out and still do the breath work. But I realized a lot of the biggest shifts in people's lives have come from that. So for the next several months, I'm opening these intensives up for 2 days. For one-on-one, it's 5555. For two-on-one, it's 7777 divided by 2. So you can email me if you're interested in that for an application. Okay, so moving forward. Oh, also Soul Led Life, if you want to learn what I do, the second half of the year in Soul Led Life, the second 6 months, you'll be invited to a different program. It's a facilitator training. You have to walk the path though before you can facilitate, because if you're not walking the path, your clients aren't going to walk the path and they're going to be trapped in healing cycles. And I'm not here for that. I'm here for true liberation. So some examples of soul manifestation. Well, it will start with ego manifestation for myself. Getting invited to private jets, living in Miami, right downtown, going to all the parties in Miami, jumping the lines, the whole shebang. It was fun. I'm like, is this it? Like, is this it? Like, this is what I like really wanted. Um, what are other soul ego manifestations? Some of the movies I booked were ego manifestations, some were soul. Soul manifestations have been that trip. My puppy, my dog. Living in Costa Rica, manifesting a place for $300 a month. That was 3K. That was a soul manifestation for sure. Dancing with my mom and my sister-in-law and my niece. That was like a dream of mine growing up. Like us having like dance parties. Like this did not exist when I was growing up in my family. Most of my high revenue months have been soul manifestations, and I have a masterclass on that. The date might be changing, so stay tuned. It's called 50K month masterclass. And the reason is where I allocated the funds. So these are examples of soul versus ego. How you know is when soul manifestations, again, decoding manifestation, when I launched that course, teaching like energy healing and literally not really having to promote it that much. I mean, the breathwork ceremony I'm doing in Calgary, we basically like it's almost full, and I sent like 2 emails, I think. A lot of it filled by referral. Like these are all soul manifestations, the things that really nourish your soul. So here's some examples of feeling like you are not on soul path. Feeling numb.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry. I'm just gonna mute you. Feeling numb, feeling restless, feeling anxious, feeling like I got the thing and is this it? Low level depression, feeling bored, self-sabotaging in business, relationship, health, friendships, seeking validation instead of true, authentic connection, people pleasing, weak boundaries, compromising values for connection, addiction to work, sex, food, scrolling, self-improvement, even escaping into fantasies of the future or nostalgia of the past. And this one goes for when you're truly avoiding the moment, starting things but never finishing them, no follow through. Oh, I struggled with this for so long. The weak inner masculine of not following through. Sleep problems, gut issues, inflammation, stress related illnesses, feeling wired but tired, feeling unfulfilled at your job, feeling lost, especially when life looks good on paper. I can't tell you how many high level people who are making 7, 8, 9 figures a year feel like their soul is dying. They have all the things and they're like, what the actual F? And then they're addicted to whatever it is, whether it's escorts, whether it's drugs, whether it like any substances, whether it's work, and they're like empty inside because they're disconnected from the truth of their soul and their authentic expression. Lack of purpose or meaning, living on autopilot. It's like Groundhog Day, the same thing over and over and over again. Fear of stillness, silence, or being in solitude. Reaching the goal and asking, is this it? How many of you guys have been there? Is this it? All of these are symptoms, feelings, and experiences. And I get it. I have been there. They're a byproduct of being out of soul alignment, disconnected, and working against your soul. As we connect to our soul and walk the path, the symptoms resolve. They are trying to get your attention. So I'd say 98 to 99% of people are disconnected from their soul in one or multiple aspects of their life. It is usually due to fear of money, fear of loneliness, not trusting God, not trusting themselves to follow through on what they said, and abandoning their soul to fit in or for a false sense of security. Hear that again, for a false sense of security. If you are at a job right now or looking for a job solely for money versus for impact, for ministry or for liberation or for what you love to do. And this can look like the gauchos, I don't know how to, gauchos, so basically like they're the farm hands. When we were in Argentina, like they worked so hard. These men, well, there's some women, worked so hard. And they were some of the happiest people I've ever seen. It doesn't need to be a prestigious job. It just needs to be one that lights you up. If you are compromising in a relationship and you are getting aggravated at your partner, I get it. I have been there. There's some self-abandonment that is taking place. If you are, and if you're the job thing, if money is one of the things that you abandon your soul because of, you need to come to the 50K month masterclass, because we're going to be talking about holy provision. We're going to be talking about connecting to God as the source and not relying on any person, job, investment, inheritance, partner, anything other than the actual source of your provision. This changed the game for me. It's not going to be some 10-step freaking process. It's not going to be do this one hack. It's the truth of the truth of the truth. And I have tested this time and time and time again. And sometimes I'm like, God, really? You're really asking me to do that? You're really asking me to invest in that? You're really asking me to leave that job? And when we don't listen, God can get kinky. I've had some hospital visits with torn ACLs, injuries, the whole thing, almost going blind, like whatever it is. Because when you guys have already committed to the path because you're here. When we're on this path, there's no going back. And the reflection, you'll notice that when you're dimming your truth, you're not taking the actions you're being called to take. I get it. It's hard. It's scary. It's the unknown, which is the source of where miracles happen. It is having reliance on a power greater than yourself and co-creating with this. There is no other way. If you have a big vision, if you have desires that are beyond if you know all the steps to make your desires happen, God's out of the picture. Source is out of the picture. And I can speak from experience. We only get the next piece of the puzzle until we take action on that. And it's really about following that where the next step happens and is given. And the field starts to shift. Our reality starts to shift. things fall out. God, don't get scared, anybody. But I remember when I truly was like, I am devoted, when I devoted to fucking God, when I was like, I am devoted to love, to union, and my ex-partner. I am not available for thwarted energy distortion or manipulation. And I literally banished them in my field, and my energy field shifted so much. And I was like, holy Toledo. And that was the beginning of that relationship crumbling. And thank fucking God it did, because my soul was dying in it and I didn't even know. And I also had to go through it because there was massive soul lessons in that. And I'm grateful for it. There were so many beautiful things. And I was abandoning my soul over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I didn't realize it because it's these micro moments. And then all these reflections started to happen, and until I had enough, and I was like, okay, God, let's fucking go. And so things literally will get illuminated. And then I had a mentor who was like, well, this is the path to divine union. I'm like, fuck that. And I was like, oh shit, it starts with divine union within and with God. And it's on our soul's timing and God's timing, not ours. But we have to live in the reality of the version of ourself. Like I'm stepping into deeper levels of divine union with me and source every single fucking day. And sometimes it's not easy before I get into my true beloved relationship. And that's meant saying no to things that I was like, this is phenomenal. Maybe I'll just settle again. And God's like, things get illuminated real quick. Or, oh, maybe I'll just like do this thing to make money. And God's like, that is not the course you need to be launching right now. Maybe I'll just go back to acting for a little bit. Maybe I'll body double. I got some body double offers recently. God's like, nope. Okay. But it's easy money. What do you do? Sit there? Nope. And so things will shift in our field and be illuminated. And when we don't listen, the reflections get louder. They start with money and relationships, and then they come to health. Or they'll go to the area of your life that matters the most. And so if you want to walk this path, firstly, join Soul Led Life if you feel the pull. You don't need to know all the information. I'm channeling the course. I don't even know the information. It's literally working through me as I create it. I'm shifted. I have the blueprint, and I've shifted modules when I was on my trip. I'm like, oh, up until I give transmissions, things shift in the field, and then boom, I have it. Because what happens is this: we cross a threshold of fear. We have to cross a threshold of fear, and dissolving our old self is literally a cellular death. And we've been disconnected as women from our cycles, the cycle of death and rebirth, intentionally, by the way, so that we're disconnected from the cycle of death and rebirth within self, because that is the key. We cannot experience joy and freedom and bliss if we can't experience grief. Look, I just went on the most phenomenal trip of my life. It was so fucking special, because not just the trip, like wait for like the Instagram post. I can finally post, because we couldn't post with Amber until we were back for her safety. But beyond that, I took it with my mom. This would not have been possible before. Like the depth of healing I had to go through, the depth of feeling like I didn't belong in my family, and I didn't even fucking realize that I went through in order for that to become my lived reality. And don't worry, it is not the last trip. So there will be more. There will be more. All I want to do is ride horses now and do this, of course. but I'm definitely getting pulled into working with animals in some way, shape, or form in a deeper way. I had to make, I had to look at aspects of myself. I had to make choices that were not easy. I had like to speak up when I felt dishonored over and over and over and over again, and the person didn't even realize it. And so the trip was like the cherry on top, and it was phenomenal, but it's who I became in the process and the shifts in my relationships in the process. And the shift in my relationship with myself and my truth and my boundaries and the trust that I created on a deeper level, cellular level with God. And so this path is like, well, we'll spin it back to when I dropped out of university and somehow manifested going to New York for acting school, which also was a soul manifestation, by the way, because that's where I learned about energy, the subconscious mind, the first place I learned about that. And I also had to see certain things in the acting industry that informed my work now. That was one of the hardest choices I've ever made. I had things handed to me. I had a job that, I mean, I had a career for life literally handed to me before university. And like, oh, you'll come back after your first year. And I literally walked out after a month and I'm like, this isn't for me. And it was a disappointment to my father. And I got told if I wanted to study acting, I was going to get kicked out of my house. And I held the fucking vision. And I did go to university for a year and studied acting full time. And then I manifested going to New York. And again, a huge fight, but I held the vision. There was something deep in my soul that was like, no, our work is literally our life. And then I realized, oh shit, I don't want to work life balance. I want to work life merge. Meaning, I came back to Canada and I forgot. So the end of the trip, I grieved. I literally cried. My mom's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't know. It's just so beautiful. And like, and it wasn't that I was coming back to a shitty life. I'm so happy here. I mean, I'm in Calgary right now, and I'm excited to get back to Vancouver. And I'm a totally different person on a cellular level. Some of you who can feel energy can feel it in the field. But I allow myself to go and grieve. This is how I feel joy. And as we walk through the portals and take the actions on the journey, and we're going to go on a mini journey here in a couple minutes, so just bear with me. On the mini journey, on the journey of the 6 months of it field and alignment for you. And if you're like, I really want to join and I need a different payment option, message me. We can figure out Klarna or something, but only do that if you are. I don't want people to dip their toe in a safe way. It's a fucking all in, or it's a no, it's not for me right now. And trust yourself with that. But back to the transmission, and we'll get in the activation in a couple of minutes. We will end at the top of the hour because a lot of you are in it. The prosperity portal call is right after. So these choices in my life that I've made, I mean, and there's so many of them. I mean, I kind of got kicked out of serving, let's be honest. But allowing certain aspects of myself to literally die. And the reason so many people don't follow this whole path, even though they're getting all these reflections, is because they're avoiding the grief. And they don't have the support of a community or a mentor to hold the field with them and hold the vision of who they're becoming. That's why I'm creating Soul-Led Life. So we are going to go into an activation where the field and the energies, God, the earth, Mother Earth, and your soul is going to guide you with your next step on this path, the next piece of the puzzle. And I want to share one more piece before we go into this. I remember years ago, I was like watching all these people on social media pop off. I hadn't started my business. I had Reiki clients, but the first time I launched Reiki, nobody signed up. And literally, I got guided to facilitate a breathwork ceremony after I learned breathwork, shamanic breathwork. And that's how I filled my first Reiki course. It was like magic. No, it was God. Okay. It was me walking the path. But I was like, how are all these people doing all these things? And I realized the people who, well, some were doing it out of integrity, and let's not talk about that because I have no space to talk about that right now. But the people who were doing integrity, I'm like, how is this happening? Like, I'm working so much harder. And what I realized was it was my subconscious belief program. So prosperity protocol after we're going into money stuff. But the other piece here was source and God were working through them. It was greater than them. All your visions are so much greater than you. And when I anchored to this, when I anchored to sometimes Jill does not want to do the thing. She doesn't want to. This morning, I woke up extremely exhausted. I barely slept last night. I don't know why. My dog was downstairs. He somehow got upstairs, kicked my door open, even though I'm pretty sure, like, and then I couldn't fall back asleep. It was 4 a.m. Anyways, and I did anyways, it has been a lot. Like, we traveled for 24 hours back, didn't sleep, like, so fun, but a lot. And so I was tired. I didn't want to show up here today if I was just like, I don't feel like it. But like, I have a bigger fucking mission. So I showed up because God told me to show up. And, when we're working on behalf of Source, all of a sudden the energy and the resources for our path, for our mission come. The energy came because I was in devotion to something greater than self. And part of the reason the soul is like, it's dying, oh my God. And then you need to like chase the outside thing. You binge eat or you do drugs or you overdrink or whatever the fucking thing is. You're addicted to sex. I'm not judging. We've all had our things or have our things. Is because you're not connected to your soul and to God. And a purpose that is greater than you. They all come together. And when we start to walk this path, this is the path of miracles. Miracles literally become the norm. I mean, guys, I tell you, when I was traveling, they're like, I don't know how you do it, but like, I became the manifestation person. People, how do we manifest this? They're like, how the fuck do you do this? Because I'm a master at energy. That's my gift. That's my gift. And you all have gifts that you're masters of. And you're being placed in places that need your gifts, but you're too afraid to be of service because you're trying to fit in to rooms that can't even fucking hold you, or you're thwarting and contorting yourself, your truth, your authenticity, and you're numbing your desires, which are from the divine. Because you're afraid of being outcast. I get it. I've been there so many times. I have been outcast so many times. I have been disowned from my family, called a villain, uninvited to my brother's wedding. My deepest nightmare came true, was uninvited to Christmas. And they were all the greatest gifts ever. Because that's where I found the truth of my soul. And it's constant, like, evolution. There's deeper levels of this and submitting to God and whatnot. But these things became the biggest gifts. And I realized the things that I was grasping for were the things that were keeping me from my truth. And through this journey, I have created deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And it keeps deepening and keep getting better. And I keep getting initiated relationships with the people that disowned me, that called me crazy. And I'm not going to go into details, but there was something on my trip where I was like, wow, this person literally used to call me crazy and think I was bonkers. And now the gifts that they called me those names for and told me to hide my gifts when I was younger and blah, blah, blah. And when I started doing this work, like pretended like I didn't do it to their friends and whatever, is so fucking grateful for them now. There was a specific event where, well, there was a few, but one very specific one where I'm like, shit, there was a reason I was here with this person at this time. And you bet they were fucking grateful. And I showed up in service. Okay, let's go into the activation. If anybody has questions about Soul Led Life, the discount is going to land in till Tuesday. So it'll be 3333 for the 6 months. You feel the pull, trust that. You're provided for by God. When you start to make moves and choices, the power's in the choice, the field moves around you. This is how I have holy provision. And you feel the pull to that masterclass. It's free. It might be on Instagram, actually. We might change the date, but for right now, it's January 31st, 50K month masterclass. It's about holy provision. Okay. Then DM me. And if anyone feels the pull to the in-person 2-day immersion, in Vancouver, then also you can email me and I will send you, actually email is best for all of it. Either my team Jill Alana Nixon at gmail.com or Jill Alana Nixon at gmail.com. Yes, those are the two things. Okay. So we're going to go right into this. Okay, beautiful souls. Okay, just allowing your seat bones to sink deeper and deeper into the floor beneath you. Banishing out any distortion, illusion, deception, any energies that are not of the highest, that are distorting truth, clearing this from the field right here and right now. Allowing a golden light, source God energy to come from 300 feet above to the top of your head, coating every single cell to your throat, clearing any shackles on your throat, to your heart, to your upper abdomen, lower abdomen, hips, knees, all the way to the bottom of your feet. And a red laser beam from the bottom of your feet, anchoring you and stabilizing you into the crystalline chromosome of the earth, clearing any inversions on the earth template, coming back to the coherent crystalline energy and allowing this to spiral up to the bottoms of your feet, knees, hips, abdomen, heart, throat, all the way to the top of your head. Shooting a white laser beam out the top of your head, connecting you to God. Anchoring and stabilizing the light of truth. Invoking in this funnel, the funnel of the light of truth, your higher self, requesting the energy protection of the grids. Now I want you to just bring your energy to your throat for a moment. We're going to swirl a blue laser beam around your throat. Some of your hearts are closed because your throat has been shackled. I want you to feel whose hand this is, whose shackles these are, who muted your self-expression. Now, with the power of your will, the power of divine will, the power of your solar plexus, the earth and source, clearing these out of the field right here, right now, just feeling these clear, 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 clear. And allowing any fears of speaking truth, getting exiled, of getting banished for speaking the truth to be cleared out of the field right here, right now. Dropping these, dissolving these. And restoring your throat chakra back to its divine blueprint. Now, following this energy line to your heart, and all the way down to your gut, as we align these energy centers. For this activation, clearing any fears that were having you grasp on to any ego manifestations, to anything that wasn't in true soul alignment. I want you to tap into your bones, to the depth of cells, your DNA surrounding your bones, and allowing your DNA to come back to its divine blueprint and spin at the highest frequency that you can fully integrate. And what is your soul desiring? What's the thing that you have felt drawn to always since you were young? And just noticing any fears that come up with this. But I don't have time. But I'm allergic. But I don't have the money. But I don't know how. What is that true soul desire you're being called to? That is from the Father. Desire means from the Father, from God. What are you being called in to create? You'll notice a golden puzzle piece from Source God coming to the top of your head, dropping all the way down, down, down into your heart, into your solar plexus. This puzzle piece is going to reveal your next aligned action. Beautiful. And just noticing what it is. And calling in God for backing for support as the fears start to dissolve out of the space, the limiting beliefs, any negative implants, any deep self-worth issues start to clear from your space, from your mind. And when you're ready, making the choice with every cell in your body to take this action. To take this uncompromising action, being backed by God. We can't compromise with God. There is no, I'm trying. There's I'm in and allowing the vision to be the North Star and the provision of God to support you. Or nothing. So make that commitment to Him, to your soul, to your vision, as you align your will to God's will. The truth of your soul is already the truth of God's vision for you and for those you're meant to impact, to guide, to inspire, to activate. Beautiful. Just asking your higher self if soul-led life is meant to support you in this journey. And if it is, once you make that uncompromising choice, God becomes your provider. He will provide. He's backing you and your vision. And all the resources for any support you need for your vision. God doesn't give us a vision without providing the resources. And if you got to know the soul-led life, asking your higher self, what and where you need support, and committing to that. Once you make the choice with every cell in your body for that, He will provide. And as you build faith and trust in this relationship with Source, of the source of all that is, miracles will become your norm through him. Beautiful. And allowing this activation to continue to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, till it is fully integrated, embodied, activated, and complete. We give deep gratitude for all of you for being here, for God, Source, for the protections, the flames, and for all of our higher selves. And so it is. Beautiful. Okay, welcome back, beautiful souls. You're very welcome, Adam. So the replay will be up. It will be emailed later today. So stay tuned for that. I got a hop because we had the prosperity portal call. You're welcome, Karina. The replay will be available for a limited time, but you have some time until we start Soul Led Life, which will be February, sometime mid-February. Stay tuned for those of you who are in it. You will get an email. It's scheduled for tomorrow regarding, we're going to vote on time because we have people from all different time zones. So big hugs. You're very welcome, Flora. The replay will be sent later today. So you have that. Hope to see you in the Prosperity Protocol. It's a different Zoom link, so I'm going to hop off here. I love you so much. And I hope that resonated. Okay.